All right, good. Is it still morning? Yeah, good morning.
You're on.
Good morning. My name is Patrick McAndrew, and I am very happy to be a guest today. I want to thank Eric for inviting me out and Vito for getting me involved. Appreciate you guys, everything that you're doing here. Vito, especially for the opportunity. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, for sure. So just a little bit about me. Well, we'll get into that here in a second. And thank you guys for being here. I know there's other things you could be doing, and I'm happy to provide any value I can. It's super casual, so feel free to interject anytime if you got a question, something's not clear, and all that. So full disclosure, you're not going to leave here an expert on anything other than knowing that you're not an expert on anything I talk about. Hopefully it'll be enough, though, to either pique your interest about something that it is you want to know more about, and you go out and do your own research, okay? Fair enough? Fair enough? All right, Lee. I know you're excited. Before that, though, that little veteran humor. Let's see if it works.
Do you want to make millions in real estate investing?
Oh, there you go, Vito. Look for you.
Don't have the time to learn everything yourself.
Hey, young brother, you ever thought about joining the United States Army?
The who?
The Army.
Oh, no, hell no, I ain't joining the Army.
You know they can pay for your broke ass to go to school, right?
Yeah, I heard they do that, but I'm all right, man. I already got a full ride, you know what I'm saying? I just want to
Seriously,
graduate.
man, you're going to a fucking community college. Join the Army and let's get this money.
How much y'all paying?
Millions, brother. And on top of that, each contract comes with your choice of a Charger or a Camaro.
Charger or Camaro? I mean, you guys didn't qualify. I mean, everybody want a Charger, you know what I mean? Everybody want a Charger.
Look at this fat, disgusting piece of trash. Built like a damn deep freezer.
Damn, Gunny. Who, me?
Yeah, you fucking pogue. You look like you don't have what it takes to be a Marine.
Why the hell did they give me such a chest?
Ooh, yeah, simplify. Yeah, give me some.
Well, I never said I wanted to be a Marine.
Look at you. I guarantee you can't do one damn pull-up if your life
No,
depended on
well,
it. He can't do it. He can't do it.
I mean, what does it take to be a Marine?
More than you're willing to give, fatty McShitstain.
I do. I promise you I can. I can be one.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Please.
Okay, meet me at my office, 1300 sharp.
I mean, I got school.
I knew you wasn't man enough to
No,
join
okay.
my corps.
I'm not going to school. I'll be there. Hey, are you an Air Force recruiter?
What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah, I was just wondering, man, what does it take to be?
You're too old.
I just turned 28.
Old!
I scored a 96 out of 99 on
You're
the
too dumb.
I scored 33 on my
Like
ACT.
stupid.
Well, do you guys at least have waivers?
Of
or-
course. Psych. Waivers. We're in the Air Force. We don't do waivers. How about you wave your ass out of my face? I told you he get wet. He ain't too big, old rock solid one too.
What the fuck would you do that?
Well, I'm Putty Officer Dingleberry, and I'm just wondering if you ever wanted to be a team leader or not.
Hell no. What shit y'all too into?
Well, we're into you. I mean, pitting you.
No, I'm alright.
You're big like Brutus, but I can only imagine how good you look in that pop out.
No, I'm alright, man. Leave me alone, man.
Looking like a big solid ass can of spinach.
All that.
All right. I don't remember there being all that cuss words in there, so I apologize if that's not your cup of tea. I digress. Okay, so just to remind everybody why you're here. If you're here, it's because you saw a title about a class that was about retirement accounts. You thought, hey, I might want to know a little bit about that. So lucky for you, that is what we're going to be talking about. Now, let's make sure I can. Here's our agenda. It's pretty simple. Right, trip on this wire. Uh-oh, did I do this wrong? Introduction. Oh, that's me. Okay, so a little bit about me. How amazing I am. All the stuff I've done in my life. It's been awesome. And short version is 22 years now as a self-employed person through a couple different businesses. Most of it, though, I'd say 20 years of it, 19 years of it in financial services. I love it. Really enjoy helping people with solving the problem of what to do with their money and how to make it last as long as possible and get the most out of that, right? It's super, super interesting. Most people think that, oh, a financial advisor, you must know all about math, you must have all the, no. frankly, that's not my forte. My forte is more the relationship, having the conversation, getting to know what somebody's needs, wants, what their fears are around money, and understanding what it is that they're really trying to get done. And what matters the most to them, what's their values around money. That's much more exciting to me than the math, as important as it is, and that is important. How amazing am I not? I have failed a bunch of times too. It took a lot of mistakes to get to a place I call some success right now. And I do not know everything. And so anything I say, if it's of interest to you, I'd say go out and do your own research, okay? Because there's, as much as I do know, there's plenty more that I don't, all right? And the landscape is always changing. Every year there's new regulations, new legislation, and new types of accounts, new types of ways to invest. It just never ends. There's always new ways to make money and make it grow. And for any regulator that might be watching later or is in the room, this is not advice, because if it was, you'd be paying me and I'd be charging. So none of this is to be considered as advice. It's just to be clear, all right? It's just educational purposes to help facilitate a conversation so that you can go out and do some of your own research at some other point, all right? And of course, do your own research. All right. Uh-oh, what am I doing? Let's go back. Oh. Anywho.
We'll cut this part out.
We'll cut this part out. Before we get into account types, let's set a little context. A question. And you don't have to answer this out loud, but I'm going to give you a second to think about this. And for those of you who may be watching this later, you'll have a second to think about this. Growing up, as far back as you can remember, I want you to take a second and think about what was the relationship with money at home, in the house. What did you guys talk about? Did you guys ever talk about it? Was it in a positive light? Was it in a negative light?
Not at all.
Not at all. Right? What was the energy around money in the house or in the family? Also, maybe a question for those of you guys who are into that, a question to write down, maybe write about later, right? Give you a second to ponder that. And as you're pondering, I can speak to myself. Growing up, I grew up very working class. Like, we never missed a meal, and we always had water and power. But it was always like, if the car broke down and something else happened the same month, it was a problem, right? It was always kind of like that. We didn't take big vacations or anything like that. We never went on vacation. Vacation for us was like going to Mexico to see family that we really didn't like. Or I didn't want to be there as a kid because it was too hot and I wanted to get back to the U.S., you know. Anyways, that was vacation. About 4-hour drive south from LA. And when money came up, it was always in a negative way. It was always like this negative energy around. I just felt the chatter in the house between my mom and dad, fighting about what needed to be paid or what's too expensive, what they needed to not do that month. And that was kind of like my relationship with money growing up. I remember my oldest brother, he joined the Army. He's about 10, 11 years older than me. He joined the Army, went off, came back. He had a bunch of credit card problems. Right? He had a bunch of credit card debt. And so I remember that being a thing too. And so as I became an adult, I was always scared to get a credit card. I never got a credit card. I just never wanted to be in debt. I didn't have any money. At least I didn't have any debt, right? So a question to really consider is, what was your relationship with money? And growing up as a child and going into adulthood? Because here's what I'd offer you. Whatever that relationship was, you're carrying it with you if you haven't done any work on that to address what either worked for you in your family or what didn't work for you in your family when it comes to money. You're continuing the pattern in some way. I can say that after, I'd say, I don't know, I can't tell you how many hours I've sat and how many different families exactly I've sat with, but I know it now so well that if I sit down with a brand new couple, after about 10 minutes, I have a very good idea of what money was like in that home for that human being as a child. I have an idea. And as we get to know each other, it all comes out and I'm proven right. Like, what does this got to do with the retirement accounts? Look, if you don't have any money to put into one, what does it matter? True. What, if you don't have any money to put into one, why talk about it? Most of what we're talking about today are tactics. Since we're kind of military folks, we're talking about tactics, like what account to put money in, how does it work? What's more important really is to talk about the strategy, right? Strategy wins the war, not tactics. Strategy drives tactics, right? So, and some of the stuff we're talking about, I just talked about, is to kind of start digging together what's your strategy. The only way to find a winning strategy for you is to understand what your relationship is with that money. So, something to really spend some time with, all right? Another question for you. What is money to you? Like, what is it? I'm not going to add any other context to it, but just that question. Like, what is money? If you want to write that answer, you just want to think about it, or something to dwell on later, I'd recommend you write on it when you have some time and space to do that. And just write and read it after and see what came up. For me, I would say that's shifted a lot. As a younger person, going into adulthood, I'd say money was like something I needed. I needed it to go out. I needed it to buy a car. I needed to buy things. I needed to get things. As I've gotten older, money for me is about experiences. What kind of experiences I want to provide? What kind of experience I want to provide for myself and my family, right? The hardest